Welcome into another exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety, the mental health podcast, breaking the stigma that mental health is not talked about enough. My guests are here today. Joel and Bree are in the back right now. But right now, we got to do a little pay homage to the Oracle Talk Radio Network, because without them, we wouldn't be here, guys. I got to do my little, shout out to the other shows here on Oracle. We're going to start it off with Bookish, run through them all, and then Bree and Joel will be here joining me live. Guys, just so you know, in case you weren't here this morning, I do have a little initiative I'm calling arm to. It's called Podcast for Prevention. It's something I'm joining forces with, and we're trying to raise awareness for mental health. If you guys would like to donate, I will have the link posted in the video of this one, or it's on my TikTok and everything else. And there is a number you can text and everything too. You can text podcasts and everything, and I'll have all that information for you guys later on and everything else. But let's go ahead and run through these ads really fast for the other shows. Give them a little love, because without Oracle, none of us would be here right now. So here we go. We're going to start off with Bookish.
Bookish Podcast, hosted by Emma Saylor, is a unique look at all things literature and is your radio book club. Read along as Emma takes us through discussions of her books of the month, and you can chime in and give your feedback as well. Tune in Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. In the Know with Jenny Nicasio, your home for pop culture and trending topics from all over the United States. All with commentary from your favorite host, Jenny Nicasio. Tune in Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. The Chasing Prophecy radio show, where we discuss everything and anything beyond the scope of normal. Hosted by Jenny Nicasio and Tom Conway, Chasing Prophecy is your premier destination for all things paranormal. Tune in Thursdays at 8 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. The Mystic Whispers podcast, hosted by the psychic seer herself, Nicole Gaspard. Each week, Nicole shares her experiences and views, as well as interviews guests. Tune in Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. The Nerd Informer podcast, hosted by Ian Harrelling and Tyler Johnson. An informative look at the world around us and expert discussions on some of the world's greatest mysteries. Tune in Wednesdays at 7 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Richard. And together, we are the Stay Off My Lawn Show and Podcast.
And together we tackle the important political issues from the week.
We'll also have smart and maybe not so smart audio clips from our elected officials.
And have way too much fun in the process.
So tune in to Stay Off My Lawn every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Right here on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
Guys, welcome in my guests today, Bree and Joel. Guys, say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Hey. Don't be shy. It's okay, guys. How you doing today? I know you're all very excited to be here. Everybody is excited you're here too. Everybody here says a lot of good well wishes to y'all. Guys, why don't you tell a little bit about yourselves, everyone.
Go ahead, Joel.
My name is Joel. I am a professor in Southwest Florida. I have 4 children. And came across Pete in a live.
Sorry, guys, I'm having a little bit of difficulty here. Sorry, continue, Joel. They can hear you.
In a live space on TikTok, and we talked about mental health, and the topic came up, and I was asked if I wanted to be part of it, and I said sure, and so I'm here.
All right, Bree, why don't you tell everybody about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Bree. I'm a single mom in Florida. I do a live stream on TikTok, and my room it's a safe space for mental health, and that's actually where I met Pete and Joel, I believe, both in my room. And same kind of thing. Pete asked me if I wanted to be a part of his podcast, and I said yeah.
Right. And that's awesome. Like I said, thank you for coming, guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, Bree is doing amazing things on TikTok, guys. You can catch her weekly from 6 a.m. to what are you usually live? It's usually around 6. You usually change it around.
I changed it up a little bit. It's 8 a.m. in the morning and 6 p.m. at night, Monday through Friday. And then the weekends are sporadic. Just kind of
definitely.
Whenever.
And then you guys, if you ever need anything, pop in there, say hi, say what's up. She'll say hello to you. She's not like some of these other people just kind of have 50,000 comments going. She'll go through and read them all. And Joel's been in there, everybody else in there. Sean from this morning, he was in there too, and everything like that. And it's great that you guys came today. And like I said, you guys are more than welcome to share your stories. Whoever wants to go first, go right ahead.
You can go.
Mhm.
You can go,
Let
Joe.
me go.
Feels
Okay.
like the spotlight's on me. You got this,
So,
buddy. Don't worry.
so I as I come across it in my classroom, it is a significant topic and issue that is plaguing America today and around the world. And I went through it myself in the year before COVID, during COVID, and the year after COVID. And it took a lot of refinding myself after COVID, and some of it is the photography that's on the wall behind me, that getting me behind the lens or editing pictures for people, and that just helped me. But there are still some days where I find myself in the throes of it, and you need somebody to lean on. And as I tell my students every day in class, if you don't need somebody to lean on, be there for somebody else, because there are days where we all need it, and there are days when we're all in that kind of thing. I taught middle school for 17 years, and so I saw preteens dealing with it, and I saw that sometimes they just need somebody to listen to. And then as I've graduated into the college level, that it's there too, and it's something that needs to come out. And as I'm teaching every day, it's like I say to people, like, what's the hardest thing about mental health, right? You can't see it. You don't know when somebody's struggling unless they're willing to share, right? And if you're not struggling yourself, be there for somebody who is. And that's my story a little bit. So feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, definitely, man. And like I said, I appreciate you coming and sharing everything. Like you said, a lot of times you don't know when people are having a rough time. Like Sean pointed out this morning, he said, a lot of people when they say they're okay, they're not okay. You don't know that, and and I think that's the most truest point ever made, is that like when people say they're okay, are they really okay? That's the question we ask ourselves now. And a lot of times, and ever since I've been on this whole journey, it's something I've been thinking too. When people say, "Hey, I'm just doing okay," and if you listen to how they say that they're okay and everything else like that, a lot of times you can tell and read the emotion in the room that, hey, something's up, but, don't be afraid to ask. Just say, hey, is something wrong? You all right? You can talk to me if you need to. And you can talk to any of us. Like, you can contact any one of us and we'll all talk to you about it, especially Bree and I, Joel, the rest of us. We're all willing to talk to you about it, guys. Like, you're not alone out there. And I know that's the number one thing for a lot of people. So, Bree, you want to go ahead and tell your story?
Yeah. I've been thinking about this all day, because honestly, it's a really long story. So I've just kind of been trying to pick things. I guess I battle with mental health. A lot of you know this, and I've been dealing with it my whole life, as long as I can remember. My mom was married to an addict and an alcoholic, so growing up, she did her best, but it was not the easiest home life, and she will say that herself. And then it kind of led to my junior year of high school. I started drinking a lot. I'm gonna get emotional. I've been thinking about this all day.
It's
and
okay,
it's got
girl.
my
You let
anxiety
them
so
tears fly if you have to. It's okay. You're in a safe space here. You can talk to us. Ain't nobody judging you here at all.
I mean, you guys know me. I cry. I'm an emotional person. I started partying and drinking a lot. I actually had a seizure when I was 16 from alcohol poisoning. And then when I was 18, I got pregnant with my son when I was in high school. Thank you, Aaron. And so that was not easy, right out of high school, which it just kept kind of pushing me further and further down. Their dad became very abusive.
Yeah. Everybody's here to support you, girl. Like I said, I'll be showing these comments the whole time, guys. If you comment, you're going to appear right here on the screen. Let's give her a little encouragement, guys, right here. You see where Mama showed up? That's where you're going to show up too.
Their dad got really, really abusive. And it was one of those when I want it, it's happening kind of situations.
Yeah.
And that's how my daughter came along, which really pushed me further down. And then the partying got worse again. It got worse again. And I ended up having a friend that wasn't a friend, and we had a party one night, and I was assaulted that night.
I'm sorry for that.
Which I've always struggled with. That's something I don't really talk about,
Yeah.
you know. Um,
You got this. I know it's hard. Trust me. It's hard to listen to it. So,
it's long. It's like if I went into like it would be here forever.
So we got plenty of time. You just
uh,
take your time. You just tell it how you need to. Trust me. It's hard. Trust me. It's hard to hear these stories when people say things like that, because it's just like, oh, it's
yeah.
rough. And I'm sorry that has happened to you. That's just ridiculous.
Oh man. But that really, you thought it was bad before then, and that really put me on a downward spiral, you know.
I'm sure it
And
affected your state of mind a lot too, though.
yeah, I was in a really, really bad state of mind. And I started hanging out with the wrong crowd. I was honestly, I was hanging out in the dope houses. I lived in the middle of the ghetto.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with the dealers and doing stuff, and um, I was very depressed, very very
Yeah.
depressed. And then I met my first husband, and things moved kind of quickly with him, which I think we got married. I don't know, 8 or 9 months after we met.
Yeah.
And he was a jerk. He was a jerk. I when I finally left him is when I moved here.
Yeah.
When I moved here, I was still in that, like, I never dealt with anything, I never had dealt with my depression or my anxiety from everything that had happened. I've always carried everything with me. I've never been the one to really speak about what's going on or how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And I've always had this issue with needing somebody there. And I guess that's kind of how I got myself into all of these relationships, these abusive relationships, is I have always just had to have somebody there.
Kind of like codependent almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I moved here, I had met a guy about a month after I moved here, and things were fine until New Year's Eve. He got really, really drunk and busted my face open. And spent my first New Year's Eve here at the police station. And it was just, it was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize at the time that I was dealing with a lot of PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, she did. He followed me to my house, and Mama went a little crazy.
She should have. That's not crazy. That's called defending her baby. I don't blame her.
I know. Which, I mean, that's I've almost every relationship I've been in. There was one time back in Ohio where I actually had called my mom. The guy had punched me in my chest, and it was, I mean, it had bruised, huge bruise for a while. But yeah, Mama was always there. But so after all of that, as I got a new job, And that's when my most recent ex-husband came in the picture. And he was very narcissistic, doesn't believe in mental health. He's an alcoholic. There was a lot that went on there, and that's when I started going to therapy, and that's when they diagnosed me with the PTSD, which it made sense.
Yeah.
I struggle with I can't do crowds. People who, if there's a big crowd and people are drinking, I can't. My anxiety gets too high because of just stuff that I've been through and stuff that I've seen.
Yeah.
Or my ex, when he would throw stuff or slam stuff or screaming, that triggers my anxiety. Mama was there before the cops. Yes, you were. It triggers my anxiety, and it puts me into panic mode. I go into panic attacks.
Yeah.
And so with him, he was more mental than anything.
Yeah.
Which honestly, when you're already dealing with mental health, with depression and anxiety and everything, when you have somebody who is mentally abusive, I feel like sometimes it's 10 times worse than somebody actually being physically abused.
Yeah.
Because trying to untrain your brain to think the way they made you think or made you feel about yourself is hard. It's really hard.
No, I agree with that completely. See, because my wife and I, when we first got together, I was like that. Like I had these like uncertainties of things, and she didn't have to do anything. It was just all me, all in my head. That I thought the worst case scenario of anything, and she was real understanding. Like I had a panic attack one time on the phone to her, and she was living where she was because she was 2.5 hours away before we ended up moving in together, and had a situation come up, and I freaked out completely. But then she was very understanding. She's been understanding this whole process of things, and stuff like that. And it's because of her. I've changed. I had to go through what I had to do and all the other kind of stuff. And it's been rough. Trust me. I know nothing close to what you've had to deal with. Because to me, I would already shot the guy. Honestly, Mama.
Yes, you will, Mom. Yeah, it was just so like with him, it was the way he would make me feel about myself. He made me believe that basically, even though I was the one that paid all the bills, if I left him, I'd have nothing. I was worthless. Basically, he kept me isolated.
Yeah.
One night, so he had multiple affairs. One night, I found out he was having an affair, and he got mad, and he had put me in a chokehold, and my son walked in. He was 7 at the time, and you think that would have been my reason to leave, but I was so mentally messed up, and my son, he still talks about it. He still remembers it. But honestly, if my son wouldn't have walked in that night, I don't know what would have happened, because that's the only reason he actually let go. Which is scary to think about, but then he doesn't remember because he'd get so drunk. He doesn't remember.
I think he remembers. He's just trying to
I mean,
deny it.
He might. But yeah, it's been rough, and it wasn't until I don't know, it wasn't until I actually started going to the gym and working on myself that I actually built up enough strength to make him leave, you know.
Yeah.
But even then, like, still dealing with it has been it's been hard. Just trying, not him like leaving, not the separation, but the trying to get myself back, you know.
Yeah. No, I get that completely. Trying to rediscover who you are and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I know that feeling.
um no, I mean, I could.
When
But
I when my wife and I, or my ex and I, we split up. We've been together 15 years, she gaslit the fuck out of me. Like she gaslit me like crazy. Had me thinking, questioning reality, making me think I was crazy, everything like that. And when I left her, finally woke up, it was just one day she had called the cops in my house, and the cops had told me to leave my house that I was in because she was afraid of me because she had wound me so tight. I was just going off here and there, and I was yelling and screaming and things like that. And it was the point that woke me up to like, hey, I need to get out of this situation. And it got worse after that before it got better. So I totally understand that. Like I still am trying to rebuild myself right now, and now that I'm doing therapy, it helps out with a lot of that stuff, and
yeah,
it's crazy. Like, and anybody wants a good definition of what narcissism is. My last week's episode with Kim Quarter, or I'm sorry, Melissa Kim Quarter. She and I discussed it in great detail. In case y'all want a good definition of it, she was phenomenal.
yeah. um
So true, Mama. So true.
yeah, I'm telling you, there's like, I can't even tell you the kind of things I've went through when it comes to men. I went to jail because of a guy. I spent 3 weeks in jail, and then I still married him because that's where I was, mentally.
Yeah. No, I get that completely.
Um. So yeah, it's been a lot, and I guess that's honestly how my room got started on TikTok. It was just everything that I had been going through, and I was in a really dark place, and all of these people just kind of found me,
Yeah.
and it just happened. Yeah.
I heard you talking about mental health when I got pulled in. I was like, back up. Let me go listen to what she's got to say now. It's usually
Yeah.
the first thing that always pulls me in anybody's room. As soon as they say those words, I pop in like, okay, let's hear what you have to say now, and then I'll start listening to people. And that's like I said, that's how you did up here because I pitched the idea for you to come on, and I do that to a lot of people. Like I ask a lot of people about this thing, and it's like I said, it's a great place for people to come on, share your stories, and people can see that this is a real deal. This is something real she's dealing with. Look at the emotion this woman's showing you right now. This there's going to be a call to arms for this, guys. Like we need to stop overlooking these things and start taking action against it.
Yeah. You're 100% right, and but see, and that's the thing is they keep saying I saved all of them, but like I was, I still have my days, and they know that. I'll get
Yeah.
on there, and they can tell, and then I just start breaking down because I'm in a funk.
Bree, you know what it is? It's that just
Um,
because you're so real. Like the emotion you show is so real, and that's what people connect to is because you're just real. You're not fake. You're not robotic. You're not any of those things like you see for a lot of these people that go live sometimes, and they're just like 50,000 comments. Oh, guys, hey, subscribe to this, subscribe to that. You're like, you don't have to send me anything. You just want to come talk to me. I'll talk to you. And a lot of people,
yeah,
that's all they want. They just want to be heard, and that's what you provide for them.
they helped save me. Like I was in a really dark place. I mean, just got divorced. I lost my job. A single mom. I have no family here. And then, all of a sudden, overnight, I find out, I'm gonna have to move. And then within 2 days after that, like all of these people just showed up in my life. And
Everyone does deserve to be heard, Mom. That's the whole point of
yeah,
this podcast, guys. If you want to be here in one of these seats where you see Joel and Bree, where my fingers pointing probably the opposite direction. Anyways, yeah, guys, hit me up. Let me know. Like I said, we'll get you on here. I have plenty of time to set it up. Like I got a calendar and everything. Just let me know. We'll let you come on here and say your piece and let everybody hear your story because you never know. It could change somebody's life.
Um, but yeah, no, they helped save me, like, because
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was in a really dark place,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
get that too.
and I still struggle daily. Some days are better than others, just because everything's just overwhelming. You
Yeah,
know,
I believe it.
and being here, trying to do all of this on my own is hard. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I know I need to get it done, but it's like I'm just so overwhelmed with it. So
Just
they
just
they
take
help
just
me.
taking it in stride, man. That's all you do. Just taking it in stride. You get there. It takes time. It's gonna be hard because you're gonna have to change, go to a new place. But at least you got Mama there and everybody supporting you, and all these other guys here in the comments here just continue blowing it up for you. See, look at them. Look at all this love just for you. All of these people are here supporting you right now in these comments. See, all these things you see coming across the screen. These are everybody here in the comments. Are all here for you. See, right there. We're all one big family. Right there.
We are. We
Just like I
are.
said, man, we all deal with something, man, and that's a great thing. We all can come together and help each other out and support each other and things like that. And that's the great thing about the internet now is that we can get together just like this and have conversations and start breaking the stigma around mental health that it is an actual thing. It's not just something people like to say or kind of throw out and go, oh well, I have problems, and then use it as a scapegoat or say, oh, I don't remember. You remember, okay?
Yeah.
Let's cut the crap. You remember because you know what you did, like and they have to live with that now with what happened, and this is the effect of your actions, and same thing with suicide. Say somebody ends up deciding to take their own life, like a lot of people don't understand, like the people still live after that, man. People have to live with that doubt because they're going to wonder what they could have done to help you, and
Which that's
that's the hardest part.
and another thing I've always been real big on, and that's why I like helping people. Because I have three uncles that committed suicide.
Yeah.
And then actually a childhood friend, she had went missing, and they found her a week later. She had did the same thing. We had known each other since we were like little, like 5. Um, and so that is the. I know, I am. Um, that's one of the reasons why I'm so big on helping people, because, and I've said it a million times in my room. Matt, you distracted me. It's like you said, it's misunderstood, and I know how it feels to feel like you're alone, and I don't
Yeah.
want anyone to feel alone, and that's why, like, some of my posts, the one of the videos I posted, I know a lot of you have seen it, and it's just me having a breakdown while I'm driving.
I I think it adds the realism to what it is you deal with on a daily basis, that people see that this is a real thing, that it's just not a made up story. Because with the internet, everybody will start saying, "Oh, well, you never know. This ain't Wikipedia, guys. This is real life. She's showing you the real person that's there, and she's the same person she's always been."
No, and that's why I had posted that video, because it was just filming like I usually do, and then I had a breakdown out of nowhere. A song came on, and I broke down, and that is what it really looks like. People think depression is something that you're constantly sad, um, and that's not what it is at all. It can hit you at the most random times of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
And like I was telling Sean this morning, I use an anxiety journal sometimes to help me with mine, and it's just all of a sudden, dude, it just starts kicking up. And and like Kelly says down here below, we need we need people to feel better about talking about mental health. And Kelly, that's the reason why this podcast even created this thing. This is why it's even here. Like I want people to understand that this is a real thing. Like people need to talk about it. It's nice to make those little flashy videos for men's mental health month, but let's look at the statistics. It's insane. People in my age range are the second highest amounts to commit suicide, and then down in the teens is below that. So I mean, it's
yeah.
not talked about enough, man. We're not doing enough to solve these problems, and I feel like we avoid the issue instead of taking care of the problem. That's true. See, and Mama says right there too. And like I said, it's just insane, guys. Like I said, this is just crazy that we have to do. We have to come this far to cause us all to come together to come talk about some issues. Like we talk about everything else, but why can't we talk about this too? Why can't we make this a normal household conversation?
Yeah.
So you look at all these kind words that are coming in. These are all for you guys. See, look at what you've done. Just 2 weeks, right? You said you've been going live 2 weeks.
Today would make a month.
Okay, so about a month now. My bad. Correction, a month, and see how much impact you've made on people just by being yourself and listening to people. See, all these people have come together because of you. See all these words, all these kind words that are showing up on the screen as we go down this list of everybody saying something. And you're right, Book. Mental health isn't talked about enough. It honestly should be talked about more. That's why we're doing this. It's right here too. And that's the whole point of this podcast, guys. Is I want you all to come on here and share your stories anytime you want. You let me know. We'll figure it out. Like I said, that's the great thing about this. And if it wasn't for the station I'm partnered with, Oracle, it wouldn't be there. But everybody around the world is hearing your story right now, Bree. You're live on Live 365 Radio for the Oracle Talk Radio Network. We're live there. We're live on their YouTube. We're live on their Twitch. We're live everywhere. Everybody can see this everywhere. And they're going to see this, and somebody's going to be, their lives are going to change. Or they're going to feel different because they see that, somebody's talking about the issue. And it only takes one person to cause change. And as you can see, all these people are here commenting these things for you. And you did this all your own. Nobody else did it but you. It really is, and that's what it is. The fact that you're so real about it. Joel's here because of you. I'm here because of you. Like I said, the reason we're sitting here is because, you made that impact on somebody, and like I said, the reason this podcast thrives is because people like yourselves are out there pushing for this initiative to be talked about. And it doesn't get talked about enough. That's the problem, guys. I really think we need to start teaching our youth about it and let them know the realities of things and let them know, hey, if you got a problem, let us know. Like, you're not alone. That's the problem out there. Joel, you have anything you want to add?
Absolutely. And I would make somewhat of the same argument that especially as men, we are told, be strong. Don't let people know you're suffering. And then it gets to the point where it becomes a full-fledged breakdown, right? And I've come to the point where I've jumped in the car and drove away from my family, right? Because of it gets to the point so strong that I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. I can't be good enough for my family. I can't do anything that is good enough. No one cares about me. No one would miss me if I was gone. All these thoughts that run through my head. And we try to cover it up. Yeah. We try to cover it up with our profession. We try to cover it up with, oh, I'm okay. How are you? Yeah. I'm fine. Right. And too many times we're covering up things and people are truly wanting to know how we are. And we say, oh, I'm fine. Right. And it's heartbreaking to hear Bree's story. It's heartbreaking to see what I see in society. Yeah. When I was teaching middle school, I had a student commit suicide in a very violent manner. And I had to talk to students that morning about what had happened. And I had a coworker killed by her husband in a very violent manner. And these things, I don't ever think, and these things happened 2-3 years before COVID. And I don't ever feel like I truly grieved any of it because I just compartmentalize it. I just put it in boxes, right? And I take down the work box when it's time to go to work. I take down the dad box when it's time to go, when it's time to do dad things. I take down the box and I put the other boxes away. Yeah. The whole thing about spaghetti versus waffles, right? Brains, right? I think for me, I can't speak for all men, but for me, I very much am a waffle brain where I take one thing off the shelf and I put it back up. And then I take the next thing down the shelf and I put it back up until it comes to the point where I'm losing what little sanity I have left. And that happens. And I just think I'm not discounting the mental health struggles of women, but men are told be strong. Men are told be strong, and you don't want people to know that you're hurting, right?
Yeah.
Just cover it up, smile, right?
Yeah. Or
And
don't show
and
emotion because you're a
and
wuss or you're a baby
yeah,
and this and that. No.
um, and definitely, um, definitely, as Matt said there, right? It breaks up families, it breaks up marriages, right? Um, that it breaks people down, and I think COVID took a problem and exasperated it
I think it took a problem
because
and
we are
it brought
not
it to light
designed to
though,
be
Joe.
isolated.
Yeah.
And when we're isolated, we get in our head a lot more than when we're not.
Mm-hmm.
When I have weeks where I'm only in my office, right, and I'm not seeing anybody else, and I'm in these fluorescent lights, right, it messes with me. And often that to a large degree, I think, is where we need other people to come alongside us and say, "Hey, are you really okay?"
Yeah.
Or if someone says they're fine, often I feel like we say, "Okay," and we go on. And when someone says they're fine, or you say, "Are you really?" Right? No, I'm always here. Right? Because often I feel like we don't give people the space, and that's what Bree's TikTok. That's why her audience has exploded. That's why her lives are exploding in influence. And someday you will look back on it, Bree, and you will see thousands of people, probably tens of thousands of people that your story saved them. And I know you say, well, you guys are here for me too, right? But your story will reach millions of people.
Yes, it will.
Um, and just the few weeks I've, well, quote unquote, known you on TikTok, right? Um, but I've seen it. I've seen it, and you say people are always there, and you're one of those people that are always there,
Yeah.
and never let anybody rain on that parade.
Definitely. I agree. And like I said, like he said, men are always taught to just bottle it up, hide it, throw it away. I like your term waffle brain. That's pretty good. Because I kind of feel like that sometimes when I go to work, I don't really tell many people about what I do. And I'm alone by myself at night a lot of times with somebody else there. And sometimes I'm doing like my own thing and it's the middle of the night and it's like my brain starts going 1,000 miles an hour. And it's crazy because I'm isolated by myself, like you said, you're isolated in that room. I'm just isolated myself general, and sometimes the other person's on the far side of where they're at and I'm on this side doing something, and it's crazy, man. People don't realize like my brain will go 1,000 miles an hour and start thinking things that aren't even real, but I have a system of people I can call in the middle of the night. They know if I'm calling you at like 2 a.m, it's a dead serious thing. Like I don't use those just to call them to cry wolf. I tell them what's up, and I think it's crazy after doing a lot of research for a men's mental health episode I did with my other podcast, Joel. It was just, it was insane. The staggering numbers were insane. And I don't remember what country it was. There was one country that had the highest rate of men's suicide ever, dude. And it was insane. It was like, I think it was number one. I can't even remember what it's called. I had to look back and tell you what it was, but it was intense. It was pretty intense. Like, a lot of this stuff I didn't even know until I looked it up and started doing some research.
I
And
make the
it's
argument
crazy.
that over 60 to 70% of men in the United States, at least, struggle
Yeah.
with mental health to some degree.
Definitely, man. I agree with you on that one. I'm not sure the exact numbers, but Joel may be right on that one about then. But yeah, it's not talked about enough. Like, and it's not like we're trying to put women in a back seat and say, "Hey, your health doesn't matter. Ours is the bigger problem." It's everybody's health matters.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay over there?
I'm okay.
You doing good? Like I said, listen. Like Joel said, your story is going to reach many people, and you never know. It's gonna change somebody's life. Just like I told Sean this morning. He's talking about his situation. You don't know. Somebody may relate to that problem and have that same issue. Be like, hey, man, if Matt can do it, or Sean can do it, I can do it. Bree can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? You can inspire somebody just with telling that story there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got it.
And I've actually thought, because you guys know I've wrote some books. I've self-published some books, and I've thought about doing one.
What are those books you published already?
My story. They're just children's books.
Well, there you go. That's pretty cool.
But I thought about actually doing one on basically my story.
You should.
So like I said,
I think you should go for it.
Like while we're sitting here talking, I've just got like memories, I guess you could say, flashing through my head of just different things that
Yeah.
I've been through, and yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome though. I mean, it's great that that's what you're thinking of doing. I mean, like I said, you should go for it. Why not? I mean, you never know until you try. Like I didn't think this podcast was going to take off. It was a thought in August. Like I've told y'all, it's a thought in August, man, and then this thing shot off. Like I think I'm somewhere into April now of next year. I'm completely booked at 2 times. Like this is crazy. Like I could have never told you this a year ago. This is what I would have been doing. But here I am now. I mean, it's and like I said, because Oracle reached out to me is the reason I have the opportunity to get to everybody and spread the message to everybody that this needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, man.
Right.
Like, so I say go for it.
Okay.
See, like everybody's here for you, though. Look at these things. I think I'm going to go back to Matt's comment here in a second because I really want everybody to read this one. Boom. I think everybody here needs to read this comment right here. Okay. Matt says, I definitely was told to bottle everything up and no one cares and want anyone else to hear what you have to say. Just keep it to yourself. It made me just say F it instead of facing any issues. And I became a major. So, I mean, a lot of people, that it takes effect in different ways, guys. And Matt's not wrong. Like, that's how a lot of people are teaching things. And it's a generational thing that's what they all been told what to do and telling them to bottle it up and don't talk about your problems. Like Joel even said the same thing. It's a consistent story. Sean said the same thing this morning. It's all the same thing that we're being told that we need to stop doing that. We need to start talking more. And understand it's not one trying to take over the other. It's not guys trying to outweigh the girls. It's just, and it's hard to talk to people sometimes because some people look at you and go, okay, that's cool. And they don't understand that, just listening to somebody that can make their day right there.
Yeah.
And
it's insane. It really is, guys.
And I've been blocked on social media for reaching out to people. Because they say, don't ask, block, right? So some people don't want help, but that doesn't mean we stop.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with Matt's comment that I was pretty nasty to my family. Let's be honest, right?
I can admit I was too.
When I was battling it wasn't a kind Joel. It was a very unkind and very not supportive human that they had to live with.
Yeah.
And it's taken years. It's taken years to get where I am, where I'm even willing to talk about it, right? Because we can all say we're fine on the outside and put up this glorious facade.
Yeah, think about when people say I'm fine though, like Robin Williams. He's the one that said I'm fine, and he wasn't fine. There's a lot wrong with him, and in fact, he inspired me.
People in the world are battling the deepest demons.
Yeah, Chris Farley's story was crazy too. When I watched that whole thing about him, and like you never even know it, he put on a persona, like a mask, and nobody ever knew what he was really dealing with in the back scenes. It was insane.
Well, if you go to Sean's comment and what you guys have been saying, it's a cycle that needs to be broken. And it's not just a cycle with family though. Like my ex, that's how he was raised. Bottle it up, And so with me, that's how he was with me, on top of being, an alcoholic and being very narcissistic. That's what he was taught, not to show, it doesn't matter. Just leave it, bottle it all up. Nobody cares. And that's how it was with me. Like does that make sense? Like that's what he wanted.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's like not just something you're passing on to your kids, or it affects your relationships too.
Yeah, it does. And to Joel's point of being very nasty to people, I was, guys. Like, let me tell you, you guys would have met me about 10, 12 years ago. Like I was telling Sean this morning, you would never seen the same person. I was that nasty to my own kids. Like the littlest things would set me off, and I was doing a lot of drinking and everything else. And it was a constant argument between me and my ex. And and as it got further down the line, it just progressively got worse. I would start lashing out and things like that. I'd start yelling and screaming and just could be a very ugly person to be around. Like you wouldn't have wanted to been around me at all. My whole persona was not even anything I am now. I am so much different than before. And it's hard. It really is. It's really hard sometimes.
I always had a problem of but basically bottling it all up, holding everything in. And my mom, she will agree, because she'll be like, that was a year ago, Bree. But like, that's just how I am. Like, I would hold everything in, and then one day something would click and everything would just come out at once.
You know, and to touch on that point, it's funny you say that because I had something recent that happened that caused me to get help finally. It was with me and my wife. I don't remember. It was something totally stupid. We were having a disagreement and I just went off. Like, when I tell you I went off, I just went berserk for
Mm-hmm.
no reason. And she didn't even ask for it. Like, she just sat there, looked at me with the calmest look on her face and didn't say a single word. And she didn't deserve that. And that's when it brought to me that I need to do something about this now before this becomes a major problem. And she's a big reason why I started trying to change. And my parents said the same thing too. They said that they like the fact that she's causing me to make these changes.
Yeah. But I also noticed, like, with me, so when I was started going to therapy, they told me, because I would have these ups, like, when stuff would go on, my anxiety starts. All my stuff, like I said earlier on when Sean was on here in the comments, that my depression and anxiety trigger each other. And so something would happen, and I would start to feel very depressed. And then my anxiety kicked in, and then I'd usually go into a panic attack, but then I'd have these ups and downs. I'd be okay, and then next thing you know, I'm crying like crazy, and then I'm screaming, and it was,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the therapists were trying to, like, they're like, well, we think you have bipolar 2 disorder, and they're putting me on medication and all kinds of stuff. And what I noticed, though, is after I kicked my ex out, that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen anymore. Like, those outbursts that I had and those ups and downs, like, I mean, I still get into my funks, I'm still dealing with a lot, so my depression still bothers me, but those ups and downs and those highs and lows that they were saying was the bipolar 2 wasn't really that. It was just my depression and anxiety and the way I was being taught to feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I'm saying?
Yeah. It makes perfect sense.
Mm.
This comment right here, just so you know, this is exactly what happens to me.
Yeah,
As
I
Des says, I'm constantly overthinking and questioning so much. That's 100% Des what happens in my brain. And I'm standing there
me too.
looking at you at any time, I'm questioning everything. And it's just because all them years that I had to deal with all that stuff and everything like that, it's just I constantly think about it. And the other person doesn't have to do anything. And it could be the most like outrageous thing you could think of. But it's like, that's exactly what's going on in my brain at the time. So has anybody got anything else y'all want to share, guys? I mean, we still got a few minutes here. We can kill. You want to shout out to anybody, Joel? Want to say hi to anyone? Send a special message. Anybody got anything to say? Listen, all right, let's try this. Okay, if you all had one message to the world, what would it be? I know so you can think about it for a second. I'm just trying to get all these comments on you guys. I appreciate everybody commenting all these kind words. I really do, guys.
Just to never give up. It's gonna
Yeah.
get hard. You're gonna have really hard days, but you just gotta keep going.
Yeah.
Gotta keep going.
I agree with these next three that I just showed. Be kind. You matter.
Yes,
Definitely, y'all matter. Everybody needs to know that you matter. You may not feel like it, you may not see it that way, but you matter to somebody. Like, to someone, you do. Like Joel, his kids look up to him, and they may not always understand why Joel was such an angry person at the time or any of that kind of stuff. But I'm sure when they come old enough, he'll sit down and tell them, and I'm sure they'll understand. And
Yeah,
it's
and
hard, especially when kids are involved. Sorry, Joel. Go ahead.
I told them, don't be me. Don't be me. And if I were to give one word, I would echo the you matter. Right?
Yeah.
That you matter, that don't make a very permanent decision for a very temporary problem.
Exactly.
That you matter, and you matter to somebody. You just have to find that person.
Yeah, definitely.
And you have to find your tribe. Right? And your tribe is there for you, whether it's on the internet and to some degree the internet and social media is a tool in the toolbox of mental health that people are able to connect to people and not have it's a little less intimidating to connect to somebody on the internet than it is to connect to somebody who's your neighbor, right? Who sees you every single day in and out of your house, sees you when you're frustrated, sees you when you're happy, sees you when you're everything. Then someone on the internet that you can be real with or not real with, right? And it's a little less threatening to that. In that way, the internet is a tool in the toolbox of breaking the stigma.
Yeah, definitely.
That people are willing to reach out to somebody in a chat or whatever, right? More than they are willing to go to their neighbor or someone at their religious organization or whatever, right? And talk to somebody or have to walk into a counseling office, right? It's a little less threatening, and to that degree, right, Bree, you make a world of difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
And I don't have nearly the influence, but I have a few people that have
Joel, I
reached
think
out
you
to
have more
me.
influence than you realize, man. You teach people's kids every day, just anything, man, and just you being here now, man, it's just it says a lot. Like it's hard to come on here and talk to people and say things, and I know you were like saying, "Oh, I'll just add in the conversation," but man, listen, anything you say, people are listening, man. Like your words are going to resonate with somebody. Somebody's going to hear what you're saying and be like, "Damn, that's right." And same thing with Bree, and same thing with me, man. It's like whenever what we say, people are always watching things. People are always looking. They may not always respond, but they're listening to what you say.
They're in the shadows listening.
Yeah,
Like we said,
definitely. But
they're
they're
in the
always listening. I
listening.
guarantee somebody's going to take what you said, man, and just like, oh, damn, that makes a whole lot of sense, or
Well, that's what we've actually talked about that before in my room on TikTok, because like with me, I don't do well with therapy
yeah.
because sitting one on one in a room with somebody, it's not for me. We just stare at each other.
And that's the thing with therapy. I always comment to people, it's like, it's not for everybody. I do
It's not.
teletherapy. I love it. It's great. But it works for me. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it works for you.
Yeah,
Just like Bree said, doesn't work for her.
and that's the whole point of the room is so people can come. It's sometimes it's easier to speak out, like Joel was just saying, in a room like that instead of a one-on-one with somebody or a therapist.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because you don't feel like you're being so much judged. Would you not say that?
yeah,
Yeah, you guys agree? You agree with that? You know what I'm saying? Because that's the feeling. Because I've asked somebody that, and I've asked several people that question. When people tell you that they're in therapy, what's the first thought that comes to mind? The number one response is that they think that they're crazy. Is what they felt like. Is like people think that you're crazy, and it doesn't have to be like that. And just because therapy doesn't work for Bree doesn't mean it won't work for you guys. You just got to try and see what works. I mean, at least you can say you tried, because remember me, it works. Bree, it doesn't. And people like Bree are just there to listen. And a lot of times that's all people want is just somebody to listen and not feel like they're judging them.
yeah,
And that's the hardest part when it comes to this topic is just, it's rough, man. Like there's so many things people deal with. I'm learning new things every day. New different things come up.
Yeah.
Hell, I just figured out what the hell BPD was the other day with a guy I did it on my radio. I do an audio side in case anybody hasn't listened to it. But I have an episode coming up with a doctor that's been a psychiatrist for 30 years, man. And he just breaks things down so great. And so easy, like it's just so smooth. Like you wouldn't even think you were having a therapy session with this guy if he was your therapist, because he's just talking to you like a normal person, and it's great. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at some of these comments here at the same time, but yeah.
I would agree with that. That therapy works for some people, right? It doesn't work for others,
Definitely.
right? For me, that wasn't the solution.
Yeah,
for me, it was like going outside and getting vitamin D, because Florida, we can create it, right? And sometimes like being behind the lens of my camera, right?
yeah,
That's my happy spot. And
mine too.
it doesn't work for everybody, but find that thing that works for you.
that's powerful. That's powerful, man. That is,
because
just find
like
your niche.
I'm in my backyard at sunrise, just me and the camera click.
There you go.
Right.
I love
And
photography.
and photography for me is, and that's basically all I put on my TikTok account is my photography.
Oh, those are your pictures? Those are amazing, dude. I like
Yeah,
them.
those are all mine. Those are all
awesome.
my pictures. But it's my thing that centers me.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not always the same for everybody, but find that thing that centers you.
Yeah, definitely, man. I agree. Like for me, it's a lot of times I read books. I work. I just go out and do whatever. I watch TV. I watch movies. I love movies, man. Like anybody that knows me, I can quote movies left and right to people, and people just look at me weird. And I'm like, oh, you never seen that movie, and just walk away, And it's just whatever you guys want to do.
When sometimes it's a new thing. Like photography, that's always been
Hmm.
my thing. I've done photography my whole life. But like I was saying, when I started to rebuild myself and finally got the build up enough strength to kick my husband out, and leave, that situation, it was the gym.
Yeah,
The gym was
Yeah.
that was my place. I started going to the gym after my back surgery, and I lost 60 pounds, and I was finding myself, and I was working out every day, and like the
yeah.
gym was my place.
I've been slacking on the gym. I need to go back now that you say that. I need to make me feel such a heifer now. Great, Bree. Thanks. But anyways, but yeah, that makes sense though, because think about it. If you go to the gym, you could let a lot of that stress out and everything. And I've been
Mhm.
slacking, dude. Normally that's where I go, but I just do too many things at once. But I go take the dogs for a walk in the morning, and it's great too. And it's been something I've been trying to get in the habit of, and all different
Well,
processes. And then this podcast is great too because I get to meet new people every day or every week and hear their stories and different things they tell me. And it's just I'm never prepared. I don't think I've ever yet to this date been prepared for what people have said when they've come on here.
well,
If y'all haven't seen the Brandy Luke interview,
oh,
woo, go watch that one, guys, because you hear a woman who said she's dead for about 5 minutes and explains exactly what it's like to be dead, literally what she described it as to being, and it was just like I'm never prepared, man. You never know. Like you can ask people questions about things, but you never really know. Especially the Columbine shooter, that one's out on my audio side of the podcast. God damn, dude, I talked to her. Woo! I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling that emotion. I was literally in a dark room recording this episode. I don't know why. I just didn't feel like turning the light on. I'm just weird like that. I was just doing the audio side, and she was telling us this story. And from what she said, she was about 6 feet away from the person because she could see their eyes. Like so, she had to be at least 6 feet away, at least to see them. She saw I was under the table, buried under chairs, and he was trying to tell me to come up and come out and everything like that. And he's going to kill us and all this other crazy stuff. And I'm like, what? I didn't realize she was that close. And in my sheet, I have a sheet where I collect data from people and just information. So I know what we're going to talk about a little bit, get a little background. She had never put that how close she was. She just said I was in the library. That's it. And then when she told that story, I was just like hanging on my seat, like, oh shit. Oh shit. And there we go. She's like, I could see his eyes. I'm like, and my heart's racing and my anxiety's kicking up. And it was just the craziest thing ever. So,
mhm.
all right, guys, we're getting ready to wrap up, though. Do you guys want to plug your social, Bree, where everybody can find you?
Yeah. Here to spread positivity is what it is
And Joel,
on
you want to don't
TikTok.
forget to give out yours too, buddy. Okay.
I don't even know my username. I think it's Air Jordan or something. Um,
Listen, if you go by Breeze Live, Joel will be there sometimes, and go check out his
um,
photography for sure,
yeah,
guys. It's
it's
awesome.
at Air Jordan, but that's a nickname from way back in middle school. But um, but yes, always reach out. Um, my inbox is always open to anybody who feels that if they don't feel like they have somebody who can listen to, feel
Mhm.
like they need to just unload frustration because when I was in my darkest hours, it's that I didn't have that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't have somebody that I could unload on, that I could unload on judgment free,
Yeah.
right? I had plenty of people I could talk to, but I didn't feel like they'd do it judgment free, right?
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
always reach out to somebody. If you need somebody, I'm there. If you need somebody, I know Bree's there, right? And I know Pete's there. But be willing to reach out to somebody. Don't be afraid to reach out. No, we're always here.
Definitely, guys. And as I always say, guys, it costs nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act could save somebody's life or make their day. You'll know where to find me, Pete versus Anxiety Pod. I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram if anybody uses that. Pete _versus_ anxiety with 2 N's. Yes, I know I put it in there just to see when he catches it, so y'all can stop giving me the grammar Nazi discussion. There is my Facebook group, Pete vs. Anxiety, where I post a lot of the interviews and things I'm going to do and stuff like that. You guys can check out my podcast for prevention link too. I'll have that posted on this video as well. Guys, even donate $1, hell, even spreading the message that we need to talk about this more, guys. But as always, guys, I thank you both for coming. It was great having you guys. I really appreciate it. And you want to say goodbye to everybody real quick? Everybody in the comments, by the way, too. I appreciate y'all coming and showing support. I really do.
Yeah.
So, but
Thank you,
anyways, guys,
Thank you.
this has been another exciting episode of Pete versus Anxiety, guys. I will be back next week at 10 a.m. Monday Central Standard Time and at 3 o'clock again with the theorists. If y'all need to find me, you know where to find me, guys. I'll have a great one. Thanks, guys.